I want you to think about the last video game you played. Modern games are incredible. They have massive open worlds, realistic lighting, and millions of details. But there is a trick that game developers use to make this possible. It is called Frustum Culling. Basically, the computer does not load the entire world at once. That would crash the system. Instead, the computer only renders the specific things that your character is looking at right now. If you are looking at a mountain, the mountain exists. But the room behind you? It doesn't exist. It is just empty code until you turn around to look at it. The moment you turn, the computer quickly loads the room and deletes the mountain to save memory. For years, philosophers and scientists have asked a terrifying question. Does our physical universe work the same way? Is reality solid? Or does it only render when we look at it? It sounds like science fiction, but physicists have found evidence in the quantum world that suggests this might be exactly how our reality works. It all starts with the most famous experiment in quantum physics, the Double Slit Experiment. To understand it, imagine you are holding a tennis ball. You throw it at a wall that has two vertical slits cut into it. The ball will go through one slit and hit the back wall. If you throw 100 balls, you will eventually get 2 strips of marks on the back wall. This makes sense. Matter travels in a straight line. But when scientists tried this with electrons, the tiny building blocks of our reality, something impossible happened. They fired electrons at the 2 slits. But instead of forming 2 strips on the back wall, the electrons formed an interference pattern. This is a pattern of many strips, looking like ripples in a pond. This shouldn't be possible. An interference pattern only happens with waves, like water. It implies that the single electron didn't pick a slot. It implies the electron became a wave of potential, went through both slits at the exact same time, interfered with itself, and then hit the wall. The scientists were confused. Matter shouldn't behave like a liquid. So, they decided to watch it happen. They placed a tiny sensor, a camera, next to the slits to observe which hole the electron was actually going through. And this is where the universe glitched. The moment the sensor was turned on, the electrons stopped behaving like waves. They went back to behaving like solid tennis balls. They formed 2 simple lines on the back wall. When the scientists turned the camera off, the electrons went back to being magic waves. When they turned the camera on, the electrons went back to being solid matter. Think about the implications of this. The mere act of observing the reality changed the reality. It is as if the universe is efficient. When nobody is watching, it saves processing power by keeping matter in a vague, undefined wave state. But when a conscious observer looks at it, the universe is forced to render a definite position. This leads us to an even stranger concept called the delayed choice quantum eraser. This experiment suggests that this rendering effect can even travel backwards in time. Scientists set up a complicated version of the experiment where they could choose to look at the data after the electron had already hit the wall. The results were mind-bending. If the scientists decided to look at the information, the electron behaved like a particle in the past. If they destroyed the information without looking, the electron behaved like a wave in the past. It implies that your decision to look at something now creates the history of that object then. This sounds exactly like a procedural generation engine in a video game. In a game like Minecraft or No Man's Sky, the terrain is generated only when the player arrives. The history of that terrain didn't exist until the player decided to walk there. If we are in a simulation, the Double Slit Experiment is us seeing the code. We have found the limit of the rendering engine. Some physicists, like John Wheeler, proposed the participatory universe theory. He suggested that the universe does not exist out there independent of us. He suggested that we, the observers, are building the universe by looking at it. We are not just players in the game. We are the engine that keeps it running. So, look around the room you're in right now. The walls, the furniture, the phone in your hand. Are they really there? Or are they only there because you are currently perceiving them? If you looked away fast enough, would you see the wireframe? Would you see the raw code? We might never know for sure, but the physics is clear. Reality is not what it seems. We are living in a world that is waiting for us to witness it. I am your host. Subscribe for more glitches in the Matrix.